All right, folks, I'm back. This morning we had quite the situation, and I'm back here to record my show. Okay, because it got the show that got interrupted abruptly. If you can recall, it got interrupted off some off something that I really don't have the amount of time to dive into at the moment. Just know I will be talking about it in another episode. Just know All right. I personally need to hear the word now. I'm happy it is Faith Based Friday, and I could dig into the message from church this past Sunday, because when you let God in, you're slow to anger and you don't react on emotion, which is something I've been working on not doing, is not reacting emotional, giving an emotional reaction to just things that not doing, is not reacting emotional, giving an emotional reaction to just things that you just don't do, that are just unprofessional, ridiculous. And again, I will be diving deeper into this in a later date after I get some rest. I just, had an hour trip from West Palm Beach to Fort Lauderdale to the Everglades, an hour down, hour back, with kids, did the whole thing. It's quite the day, but me personally, again, well, first of all, let me introduce myself to anybody that may be new to me. My name, Aswan Crookshank. I'm your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author and educator. I created this whole business, this whole brand, this whole philosophy that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a staff, group of employees that moves as efficiently and cohesively as a championship youth or high school football team. All right, that's what we do around here in a nutshell. Apologize here. Let me just get the camera set up and get everything up and running. I will. One of the facets of what we do around here is something called a faith-based Friday. If I can get it up. If I can get it. Hello. Come on. We're just working now. Come on. Hello. Come on. We're just working now. All right, we're back. We call it Faith Based Friday, which again, like I was saying to you, I started doing it this morning. I got a call. I'll even leave the video up just so you guys know. It's pure, and how as soon as I had the opportunity to come back and do it, I did it. I'm here now doing it. Just know I will be addressing that thing on a later date, because it leads right into the work that I preach, the work that I do, the things that I implore every business owner to have, implore every employee to be like, in terms of how valuable you are, regardless of the lack of appreciation you get from people who are supposed to be superiors and all that kind of stuff. You still just got to simply do your job and continuously get better, because it's like, one of my favorite Jay-Z songs is Heart of the City, where he talks about, I'm not looking at you dudes, I'm looking past you. So you got to develop the mentality of looking past folks who just simply decide that they don't want to acknowledge the things that you do and the work that you do. So if you're interested in hearing more about my employee development workshops and what I'm all about, simply go to free guide. For the first place you go is freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is freeguide.makeyourmove.com. We've broken it down into a simple, very, very simple, easy to understand math problem, which is establishing measurables, creating a professional distance, and creating that plus that creates a productive environment, which is what you need, what you want, what you need to be striving to have, is that productive environment. Now, if you like the way I sound, if you like my work, and you like my content, you like whatever it is you found out about me or whatever brought you here, and you're ready to pull the trigger, and you're like, hey man, I just want to get you, I want to just get you in my organization and talking to the staff, talking to the employees. I want them developing the mindset that you have. just simply go to makeyourmove.com. You can learn more about me there. You can book me to speak. You can go shop. You can simply just do your research. Do your research on what I'm all about. Again, I'm an open book. It's all available for you right there for you to do all the research you need to. All right. So this message, Faith-Based Friday. Oh my gosh. I mean, when I tell you it was inspiring in so many ways, because, you know, me personally as an author, as a educator, as someone who is a public speaker, as someone that is regularly addressing people in a positive way and creating acronyms, all about acronyms. I mean, I have an entire episode on my show that's titled The Power of Acronyms. This individual right here, someone that I had never heard of before I listened to this, sermon, did not know this person at all. But one of the great things about being a member at Life Church is the fact that Pastor Craig Groeschel, he opens it up. He opens it up for everybody to listen. He opens it up. He opens it up for everyone to listen, but he also opens it up for other pastors to come in and do their thing. And he was speaking, and I listened to it last night. I actually didn't make it to church on Sunday, but I did listen to it last night. And the thing he was talking about was spiraling, and you know, when things are going out of control, when things are going just absolutely haywire in your life. And he is 43, but he was talking about when he was 38 and everything just seemed to be going off the rails, and all of the blessings and all the things that he learned through these spiraling times, through these times where it felt as though he couldn't do anything right. There was nothing he can do. He just kept spiraling. So I'm going to play a little bit of the beginning so you kind of understand the gist of where he's going. But where I really want to get you to is when he starts talking about the 6 steps. I want to make sure you hear the 6 steps fully and clearly so you understand there is real power in acronyms and how you present it. And then when it comes to me, swiftly, skilled, well-informed, front team, lift yourself, when it comes to how I present my message to you as a business owner, to you as an employee, there was a lot of inspiring strategies that I just learned by picking up some of the things that he dropped. All right. So first of all, let me let it play and let it roll.
Here with us and I were in my Jeep. My son Lennox, who's here with us, and I were in my Jeep driving down the road a few months ago. And we weren't going crazy fast. We were about to turn on a freeway, so we would have gotten a lot quicker. But on this little road we were on, we were hitting about 40, 43, 44. And that's when I started to hear it. That low level of a vehicle that's not going so good, right? When something's healthy, you almost always hear it before you see it. There's a sound to healthy things. By the way, that's why we praised God a moment ago, because praise, C.S. Lewis said, is the sound of a healthy soul. When something's healthy, it has a certain sound. When it's unhealthy, it has a different sound. That's why doctors always want to listen to your lungs, listen to your heart, because healthy things sound a certain way. Well, I could tell from the sound of my Jeep that it was not healthy, right? The sound, I started to feel it through my whole body. It was a vibration, and then it was a rumble, and then it was when I hit 45 miles an hour, it was a full-fledged wobble. And I felt like we were about to violently continue in this acceleration of shaking, and we were going to flip over. So I immediately put the hazards on, braked, pulled over to the side of the road. I called the mechanic and explained what happened. He was nonchalant. He goes, oh, sounds like you got a death wobble on your hands. A death wobble? What are you going to call it? He said, just go slow. Did it happen about 45, 50? I go, yeah, 45 exactly. He said, just go slowly, come to me. And we dropped the car off. I got picked up, and later on he called me and I said, what was it? What's the deal? He said, it happens to Jeeps a lot for whatever reason. He said, but here's the deal. It was no one thing that caused your wobble. It was 3 things in your vehicle that have gotten worn down over time. And these 3 things worn down eventually made your car susceptible to it. He said, I bet you hit a pothole right before it started. I go, actually, that's crazy. I hit this bump. He said, yeah, you hit a bump and it causes 3 worn down things to all of a sudden just weaken. And that's what happened. It wasn't a big fix. He said, it's going to cost like $641 and told me things that I didn't even know existed. track bar, drag link, tie rod, right? I just bought the Jeep because my dad had one and it gives me nostalgia, okay? It wasn't like I actually am about that yellow duck life and, crawling and all these things. I mean, I'll give me a Jeep Wave just like the next guy, but I said, of course, I'll pay the $600. I can't have, do you know how much caskets cost? I mean, this was scary. I mean, it felt so out of control when this was happening. Just going down the road one moment, now feeling like I'm about to flip into oncoming traffic the next. Now, I did have other options. I didn't have to fork out the $600. I could have just burned the car on fire and bought a new one, I suppose. I could have just for the rest of my life driven only sub 40 miles an hour. The height of dysfunction, like it's just, hey, at least it's not happening. At least I'm not going to wobble. And of course, the better decision was to suffer the inconvenience and the expense and the setback to actually deal with what was going on under the hood. Matthew chapter 5, Jesus tells us exactly what we need to do when our lives wobble, what we need to know. And of course, difficult seasons come in all shapes and sizes, right? Touch 3 people and tell them, where'd you get your wobble, right? Mm-hmm. Where'd you get your wobble? Where'd you get your wobble? All of us are going to at times find ourselves feeling like, what's going on here? Everything is no longer normal. Things are shaking. I feel out of control. But here's what you need to remember in the midst of life's wobbling seasons. It says in Matthew 5, verse 3, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Yes. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, not just a little bit glad, but when you're wobbling down the road, rejoice and be exceedingly glad. Supersize your gladness, somebody, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Would you pray with me? Father, we thank you for your...
All right, I'm going to speed it up a little bit because normally on Faith-Based Fridays, I like to keep it within the 30 minutes. And I want to make sure I get to his point about... Well, first, I want to address what he just said, but also we're going to get to the point in which he talked about spiraling, because when you... And this is a lesson that I have reiterated every single Friday, because not only he's did a great job of it, Pastor Craig Rochelle does a great job of it. Anybody that is developing as a speaker, you need to understand the power of your story, the power of your introduction story. What type of introduction story are you going to tell that's going to relate to your audience, relate to the people that are listening to you, pull them in, and then give them whatever message or whatever the thing that is that you want to give them. See how I pulled in the story, because we've all had situations, not only in our life where we're wobbling, but hey, we've all had car trouble, right? We've all had something go wrong with a car. I'm not gonna all right, but we've all just had situations, or know someone who had a situation and they had to figure it out. And to equate that to some of the difficult times in your life, I thought that was absolutely magnificent. So let me see if I could find it real quick. Yes, right here. All right, we'll let him go.
My life have been spent distilling it into this book. And obviously, with the time that remains, I can't give you everything that's in the book. So here's what I'm going to do. What's going to follow is going to be just 6 big ideas. Mm-hmm. Consider them your Costco-sized sample. And if you like it, the chimichangas are on aisle 17.
Now, he's sort of being tongue-in-cheek when he says that, but that is a very, very important message, all right? When you're talking about and this is going to cross over all platforms, right? Any type of leadership, educator, parent, coach, business owner, whatever it is, you've got to be able to give folks, a thought leader, whatever it is, wherever you want to call yourself, you got to be able to give folks enough of a sample size of your stuff that's going to make it so they come back for more. And that's what he just said. That's what he alluded to. And watch the sample size again. He absolutely nails it. Absolutely nails it.
So 6 things, jot them down. Number 1, stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. The classic cliche or trope of someone in an existential crisis, midlife or otherwise, is really bad decisions, right? The gold chain, the Corvette, the divorce, the abrupt decision to start unbuttoning your shirt to an uncomfortable level for everybody that's... So what do we do when we're in crisis or times of spiraling? We stick to the plan. We don't make big decisions in the storm. When we're in the storm, it's not the time to quit the job. It's not the time to say, I need to move. It's not the time to make a big knee-jerk decision. Why? Because we can't trust the emotion of how we're feeling right now. Why? And so for me, if I'm honest with you, in the midst of my worst time of spiraling, I didn't know if 10 years from now, or even at this present moment, I'd still be leading Fresh Life Church. I didn't know if I'd still be writing books. I didn't know any of that. I had all kinds of feelings like, there's no way I could even keep doing that. So what did I do? I just kept pointing people to Jesus at Fresh Life Church, and I just kept writing whatever I could that I did know, that I did believe, which is to point to Jesus. I didn't know about my place in it, my purpose in it, but my calling came in a calm moment. My calling came because I heard God calling me. I heard God's voice. I felt God sending me. When I said, God, here am I, send me, he said, go. Okay, so I'm not going to quit what he called me to do in a moment in the sunshine just because I'm standing in the valley of the shadow of death. You need to decide, I'm not going to make a big decision in a storm. I'm not going to make what could prove to be a long-term decision based on what might actually just be a temporary emotion.
That point hit me hard today. It hit me hard because, like I had mentioned, there were things that happened to me in this day right now, even before I heard it. And that's why it's so good to go back and listen to the word again, in which I would have made an emotional decision. I would have snapped. I would have absolutely snapped on certain things or about certain things without me really thinking about sticking to the overall plan. This sticking to the plan, the overall plan thing is so damn important. And I'm so appreciative of the guy for starting with it, because the overall plan has got to be something that is so near and dear to your heart that you don't allow people who have this temporary mindset to get in your way. That's what they want to do. That's when they're winning. They're winning when they decide to allow their temporary BS to get in the way of your long-term vision.
Stick to the plan. And while you're at it, why don't you put the label maker down, honey? Look at what Peter said. When life gets really difficult, don't jump to the conclusion that God isn't on the job. Instead, be glad that you are in the very thick of what Christ experienced. This is a spiritual refining process with glory just around the corner. Why are we not going to make big decisions in the storm? Because glory could be just around the corner. Come on, we must not give up. We got to trust him. We got to keep going. And so there has to be some level of healthy compartmentalization. There can be unhealthy compartmentalization. But I didn't know a lot of things. I had a lot of big questions, but never trade what you do know for what you don't know. I didn't know how it was all going to turn out, but I said, I do know that God is still good, so I'm going to keep on trusting him. So first, stick to the plan. Second thing, peel away the extra. Peel away the extra. The extra,
yep,
what?
This is important.
Well, the extra for one thing. Just the extra. Right? What do you mean the extra? I mean, in 1950, the average home size of a home being built in the United States was 984 square feet. Mm-hmm. Today, it's over 2,480 square feet. So we're just extra, right? 1950 or 1940, McDonald's opens. The largest soda you can buy, 5 ounces. Today, you can get 30 ounces and bigger. So just everything's getting crazy. But I think one of the things the enemy does is he crowds our lives just full of so many things. The deceitfulness of riches, the cares of the world, the desire for other things. Why? He knows what you need to know, that a crowded life is the enemy of a fruitful soul. And God wants your soul to be fruitful. So you need to peel away the extra, the creed.
Okay, so this right here is when you run into folks who are cliquey and you run into people who are trying to get you to be a part of some sort of clique that you're not okay with, because it makes them feel a whole lot more comfort. It's a comforting thing for them. All right. So when he's talking about peeling away the extra, This is a very intentional practice. All right. What you just said, the devil likes to do is put around a lot of crowd up, a lot of unnecessary things around you, because it continues to serve the devil. It serves the devil by crowding your mind with a lot of BS. And love how you made the mention of, the amount of square feet a house used to be to what it is now, and understanding peeling away that extra, getting rid of those extra layers is incredibly important. So peel away the extra.
Do you really need Hulu and Max and Netflix and Disney Plus and Peacock, Paramount, or Pogo Stick, right? Oh my gosh, just all the other things. Now we're on these apps trying to find something to watch,
right?
Because we're paying for them, right?
Yeah, so many apps, right?
So we need to peel away the extra, but also peel away the extra that creeps into your identity of how you see yourself. I started pastoring in my 20s, and after 20 years of it, I wasn't old yet, but I wasn't a young man anymore. And so I think part of the reason for the difficulty of that transition for me was that I was having to wrestle with a lot of my identity was based on being the young pastor. Right? I didn't mean to. I didn't intend to. I meant to just be a follower of Jesus Christ, but God in his goodness blesses us. And sometimes we can mistake the blessings of God or how God chooses to use us for how we see ourselves. And when what makes you is anything other than who God is and the love that he set upon us, then we're making a mistake, because everything gets taken from our hands eventually. Except for the love of God and us being his child. Mm-hmm. So peel away the extra that creeps into your identity before you feel yourself having the ground under you being messy, because what makes you is being taken from you because you made a mistake. Thirdly, jot it down, interpret your struggle accurately.
Yes, sir.
This is so important. Interpret your struggle accurately. What does that mean? That means, first of all, go easy on yourself. Be compassionate to yourself. You've never been here before. I got called to my friend's deathbed. His name was Stu. He's with Jesus now. And he had his wife call me because he was just sure it was the end. He was about to die. And so I rushed there, got to the next morning after this happened. He was so embarrassed because he didn't die. He's like, oh, I wasted your time. I told you to come. I thought I was dying. I was being dramatic. And I said, Stu, how many times have you died before? He goes, I've never died before. I go, how could you possibly think you're good at it? And I said, let me just tell you, you're not going to be good at it. You're going to be really bad at it. But do you know who's really good at deaths? Jesus. He's been through a whole lot of them. And he is going to be there with you as you die badly. And he is going to override it to bring you to him to accomplish his plan. I said this. I said, you be kind to my friend Stu, because this is new territory for him. And he sat back in his bed and he smiled and he fell asleep, and he was with Jesus not too long after that. You've never been to midlife before. I had never been 38 before. You've never been at this retirement spot before. You've never had an empty nest before. You've never dealt with this territory. So be kind to my friend. They're dealing with uncharted territory. All
right, I'm going to pause and I'm going to speed it up just a little bit because I want to make sure he gets through all his points. But on that point, this is also very applicable in the business world as well, because a lot of folks, they are when the minute they get rejected or the minute they feel unprepared to do something, they got to give themselves grace. They got to understand, hey, you're always going to be unprepared and you're always going to be nervous about doing something that's never been done. So it's more of a sign of you're trying things that have never been done versus a sign of, oh, you're just not ready. All right. Make sure you take that into consideration as well as he.
It's a difficulty, Pastor. Okay. Number 4, we want to retool for the current and the coming season.
Yeah.
We want to learn to retool for the current and the coming season. We tragically don't take the advice of the book of Proverbs, which says, go to the ant, sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. She has what she does when winter comes because she lays it ahead of time and it's there for her. Did you know that 68% of Americans don't have an up-to-date will? What a shocking statistic. Because you know what percentage of Americans are going to die? All of them. I talk to friends and they know they should have a will. They don't think that the courts should be the ones deciding where their resources go. They don't think that their minor children should have to face the indignity of the courts deciding and wrestling which guardian's going to be their guardian and take care of them. And we all mean to, right? But what are we doing? We're not planning for the coming season with what's in front of us. We're not even facing up to the reality of our current season a lot of times when we're not making stewardship choices that we should be making. But we need to, in life, be prepared for what's in front of us, while at the same time be taking wise steps for what's to come. So what does that mean? It means having a vision for your old age. I think a lot of us are trying to live happening. We can embrace it, we can be excited about it, and we can retool so we're ready when it comes. I think part of the blessing of these spiraling moments is it gives us a chance to go into the locker room so we can retake the field differently. Why? Because new seasons require new strategies in Jesus' name. All right, number 5, we're going to attack the problem from all angles. That means that we're going to try and figure out from every side holistically. So I was meeting with my doctor in this season. Is there something imbalanced in testosterone and chemicals? I'm meeting with counselors. I'm calling Christian friends. I'm talking to my wife. I'm praying. I think sometimes in church, we're just like trying to pray the devil away all the time, right? Like, pray for me, pastor, I got headaches, but I drink nothing but Diet Coke. You know what I'm saying? There's this little thing called water. Have you heard of it? We need to approach the problem holistically, dealing with it emotionally and mentally and physically and spiritually as well. Like I said, that wobble came from not just one thing, but 3 things that were all working together. So we need to triangulate the solution by looking at it from all sorts of different levels. And then lastly, we need to look for beauty. We need to look for beauty. There's a Psychology Today article that says that human beings actually crave awe. And they were citing a University of California study that was done on the effect of awe on the human body as defined by what you get to feel when you're out in nature, when you're looking at a beautiful painting, or when you're in church in the midst of a worship experience. When we're going through difficulties, one of the things we need to do is we need to remember that in the 150 Psalms that exist, just about every time you turn the page, there's something about an ocean wave, about a deer giving birth, about the cedars of Lebanon. There's so much of an appeal to normalize our current moment by remembering the Creator God who's taking care of all these things. When Job was spiraling, what did God say? Hey, have you checked out Leviathan lately? Have you looked up at the stars that I call out personally by name? It right sizes us to remember where we sit in the grand scheme of things. So the next time you're spiraling, check out a snail and see what's on its shell. Next time you're in a difficult moment, go ahead and get outside and look at a plant like this aloe vera here. Or you can even Google it and look at a storm. Lift your eyes to what Hubble sees, what the James Webb sees, the galaxies. And of course, what these all have in common is they're all spiraling according to God's plan, God's design. Storm, cloud, snail, they all even have in common with what the great works of art have. Did you know that they say that the dimensions of the perfect spiral, the Fibonacci spiral, which is the exact spiral?
I'm going to move it forward just a little bit because we're running short on time, but understand that it's actually, yes, it is actually an So here's the magic. And I didn't want to say spiral too much because
for the fact that there are hidden spirals everywhere.
Right.
Like, I don't know. How about in the 5-6 points we had today? How about the hidden spiral that was there the whole time? Why? Because
you see what I'm saying? The whole time he was setting you up for you to see the fact that it's an acronym. That was the best.
The spiral there. Just like your God.
Exactly.
Thank you, God. Hid
and that, you know, when it comes to how you approach life and the things that you do, you just got to understand there's a strength that comes with a quiet confidence, a person that, you know, is able to be slow to anger, like I mentioned, slow to anger, sit back, peep game, and then move forward in the right way. And, you know, that does its part in terms of keeping the negative energy and the negative people away from you that are trying their best. They do everything in their power to stop your progress, so don't let them. So all that being said, we're back again tomorrow. Don't forget, we got a film session Saturday tomorrow, and then Stay Hired Sunday, and then next week we're talking all about public alignment. I have an incredible lineup of shows to next week, so just stay tuned. Make sure you're liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel, sharing this out to anybody that you think needs to hear it. As one, Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.